How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we'll be diving into some live Legend League attacks using Fireball into rocket balloons. And as you can see, I went plus 309 today. Yesterday went plus 300. So trying to maintain this consistent kind of plus 300 average. At least that's what I'm aiming for. And at the moment, sitting number 94, so top 100 global with one defense remaining. I should be around top 100 at end of day, I think, because I was resetting at 170th and I got really good defense. As you see, I will go plus 44. And yeah, I also attacked ITzu the other day, so I'll be sure to share that attack replay with you guys as well. So stick around for that, and yeah, hope you enjoyed the video, and let's dive into the first hit. First up, we'll start off with a Rage Poison base. Now, whenever you see a Rage compartment, you pretty much always want to fireball it. And here, I was considering firstly fireballing the Inferno, but you can be a little bit more greedy. It's not that much harder to fireball the Ricochet Cannon, and it's actually going to get you the Scatter Shot as well, and it's going to get you the Monolith also, if you can hit the Earthquakes correctly. So that was my primary target, and usually the way I think about these attacks is, you know, I would choose my fireball location. So for example here, Ricochet Cannon, and you know, once I put my Warden down, I would kind of start scouting, you know, where I would want to put the Flame Flinger down, because I do have a little bit of time here while the Warden is, you know, getting close to the damage area. And here I chose to go just with a simple Flame Flinger at the top side. It's going to get, you know, it's going to get the multi-arch tower. It's going to get the Builder Hut and maybe something else. Not that much value, but, you know, good enough. Much better than what a Siege Barracks would get. And yeah, in the meantime, just trying to kind of pay attention to the Warden, because he did step into the what is it called? The Pressure Mortar. And yeah, once we've sniped out this Wizard Tower, or the X-Bow, sorry, once we've sniped that out, we can set up a double Invis Fireball onto the Ricochet Cannon, so I'll do so in a second. Also could have hit actually the Rage Spell Tower itself, to be honest, but yeah, we just go for the Ricochet Cannon. That gets more than enough value. I didn't hit the Quakes onto the Scatter Shot, but honestly, that's not a huge issue. We still get in extremely good Fireball value, and here notice I do send in a bunch of rocket balloons to snipe out the Town Hall. That way my Headhunter is not going to get hit, and that way I can actually just snipe out the Barbarian King. And yeah, the Flame Flinger is doing good work. We're going to send in the heroes at 1 minute 30. Try to maintain that kind of timing of the heroes. So you would generally want to send your heroes at 1:30. You don't really want to send them in at too late, like 1:15. Then you might face time issues. But sometimes you have to wait a little bit longer if you have to pay attention to the Warden. But here the Warden was very safe, so yeah, sent in the heroes on time, and we still have a minute left, invising the Warden and raging him up through that multi-gear tower. Still have the Royal Champ on the back end, so we should be able to deal with this base. Also, the Super Minion's going to come out of that Flame Flinger, so yeah, a very good triple, and yeah, let's move on to the next one. So next up, a double poison base, and for some reason this guy has Town Hall 15 storages. I have no clue why, but he does. That's the first thing I noticed, to be honest. Like, I did not even pay attention to like where I want to fireball. I already attacked this base before, and well, to be honest, I already knew where I wanted to fireball. So the idea was to fireball the Fire Spitter, and that's going to get me the CC. That's going to get me what, the Inferno Tower, and that's going to get me the Poison Spell Tower. So that's really solid value. And as well as that, whenever you see X-Bows on the outside, like this guy had an X-Bow on the outside, just snipe it out and set a Flame Flinger up. It's always going to get really good value because, well, X-Bow is kind of the only counter to the Flame Flinger, right? Well, the mortars as well, but you can snipe out mortars pretty easily with rocket balloons. So we're going to get really good value up at 2 o'clock, and in the meantime, just like in the previous attack, you know, we set the Warden up first, then the Flame Flinger, and then we pay attention to the Warden again once the Flame Flinger has been placed. So here we're paying attention to the Warden and raging him through the Monolith and the X-Bow. That's perfectly fine. At this point, can set up a direct invis or direct fireball without any invisibilities, which is really good as well. And we fireballed the right-hand side, so the Warden is just going to tend to go to the left, and at that point we can just start thinking about where we want to send the heroes. Usually I would send them in, to the side where the Warden does not head. In this case, we get a really nice funnel formed with a bunch of rocket balloons just sniping out this multi-arch tower, and we're just going to push the heroes into this Crusher Mortar. Be very careful of the Crusher Mortar. That can wreck your queen in, a few shots, so you have to really be attentive to her not getting targeted. And here she kind of gets targeted a little bit because I think is the Crusher Mortar locked onto the Ice Golem or something? And it, yeah, you see it like took off half HP after 2 hits. So just be very careful. And yeah, I popped the king trying to take it out, and it did not get taken out still, but it's okay. Not a huge issue. The Warden is going to continue down to the left side. We're going to poison the queen because whenever you fireball a CC, always use a poison spell on the enemy hero. And usually I would poison down a hero that is right ahead of the Warden. So in that case, it wasn't the queen, it was the RC. Because the queen is still there. But yeah, I mean, this base got crushed. Still have 4 invises, and we're just going to swag them. And yeah, we'll move on to the next one. So here we run into Bernaul, who is playing for Team Elevate, and he was running this double rage base. For anyone who watched my previous video, I showed the exact same base, and I said, well, if you fireball the rage spell tower here, you can actually reach the Crusher Mortar, and that's going to help your hero dive a lot. Again, double rage, so you fireball 1 rage compartment. Here I set up a really nice flinger on that 12 o'clock section, and it's going to basically act as a really good siege barracks. It's going to funnel my heroes into this minion prince and king compartment later on down the line, and it's going to, yeah, provide really good value. Here, setting up the invises, triple invis, and offsetting the quakes just a little bit towards that or towards the Crusher Mortar. That way we can take it out and not having to deal with it. Crusher Mortars are probably the #1 enemy of hero dives, so I really try to prioritize not taking damage from them if possible. And here we're going to run into an issue, though, shortly. Now, I'm kind of running out of rocket balloons here, but luckily I have 1 more, and I do invest it just so that I can trigger this stupid NATO, because, as I was saying, you don't want to get caught in the NATO, but yeah, the Warden still died through the Town Hall blast, and I guess it was, what, an X-Bow? Or, yeah, it was an X-Bow and a Town Hall shot and a multi-Inferno beam. So yeah, at that point, I mean, I transitioned my healers over to the queen, which is what you should always try to do. You place your queen first, that way the healers go to the queen, so you have some sort of a queen charge going on. Here we have a Fire Mite that's going to, well, it's going to damage the healers, but luckily Supercell have changed it so that it doesn't take them out. But healers are doing stupid stuff. They're going for the king. But it's okay. We're still in this as long as the king ability is good, and he steps right into this rage compartment, which is perfect. He's going to take out the majority of the defenses in that rage section. We get a Rocketloon CC, which would have been pretty toxic as well for the Warden to face. So yeah, we get really good. I mean, you see the healers are still alive, which is really carrying this attack. And the queen clones are being kept up. We send the royal champ, and it's not even that close, really. Like, there's still 30 seconds. We lost the Warden fairly early, although he got insane fireball value, right? But yeah, it's still possible to save. Just bring the healers over to the queen and do a bit of a queen charge like I did, and you should be able to recover. So here we are. We find ITzu, and I think he was resetting I think it's on another account of his that he was resetting like top 20 global. I'm not sure if that's his actual reset or not, but yeah, don't quote me on that. This is his other account, and he was running this Rage Invis base. And, well, to be honest, Rage Invis is relatively easy for Fireball Rocketloons. Also, a little bit of Flame Flinger to be had at the top side. I found a few Teslas. You should always, use a couple of rocket balloons just to test for Teslas before you set up a Flame Flinger, or at least a Goblin. A Goblin would have worked as well. But yeah, great value for the Flame Flinger. It's going to get 5 buildings, which is really good, actually. So yeah, no complaints there. And the Warden is charging, well, I'm sniping out this X-Bow because I don't really want the Warden to be charging into a double X-Bow. As you'll see, soon he'll step into this other X-Bow range. So yeah, that's going to alleviate a little bit of damage from him. And also, it's going to help push him towards the CC, which is kind of where I want him to go. I don't really want him to go sideswipe the Town Hall after I Fireball. And yeah, here you see I was trying to pull the Furnace, but I didn't find the Furnace in his CC. So whenever I see like just archers coming out of the CC, I note that it's either, either triple Ice Golem, which usually isn't the case, or there's Rocket Balloons in the CC. So just keep that in mind. If you don't get a Furnace pull with your Rocket Balloons, keep in mind that there might be a bunch of Rocket Balloons waiting for your Warden. And yeah, we're just going to keep that in mind. We're going to start the heroes and keep a really close eye in case it is Rocket Balloons. But everything is going pretty smoothly. We get 3 Ice Golems, which is just, I mean, that's super easy for the Warden to deal with. Just poison them down and hoping a really nice King ability. Here, obviously, at this point, I mean, the attack has gone flawlessly. We've gotten amazing Fireball value. We got amazing Flame Flinger value. We didn't even spend all that many spells dealing with the CC, so there was only one thing on my mind, and I had to swag the Royal Champ on him. I had to, right? I mean, 50 seconds left. There isn't that much time, so I'm cutting it a little bit close. Like, I would send the RC at 45 seconds, but yeah, I gotta try at least, right? I gotta try at least to, even if I'm cutting it a little bit too close. But yeah, 30 seconds, still have a Rage. Watching out for that Giga Bomb here. I don't have any spells left, but it's 25 seconds. The Queen is doing Queen things. Oh, she's going for the Ricochet Cannon. That's pretty smart. But she was going to beat on an outside wall or some stupid crap. So yeah, we've managed to swag the RC on ITzu, and thanks ITzu for not defending Fireball into Rocketloons. As you said, we're fighting the same evil, which is those stupid Root Riders. So here we have a relatively common double poison base, and this is Max. I think he plays for MMG, but I'm not sure if that's his account or if he does play for MMG, but maybe someone can correct me in the comments. And, well, this guy was running a double poison base, which, as I said, is quite a common one. And the way I attack it is I go for a pretty greedy Fireball. I aim for this Inferno. Now, it's a relatively easy one. It requires 4 invisibilities, as you will see. But again, as in my previous attacks, I set up a Flame Flinger just to get a few buildings. I don't think that Ricochet Cannon will go down to the Flame Flinger because of the angle at which I placed it, but the Super Minions should be able to get rid of it. But we're just going to pay attention to the Warden charge here. We're just going to snipe out the mortars to kind of funnel the Warden into this Crusher Mortar. We're going to deal with it separately and then set up the invisibilities. So, yeah, we're also fighting the King on the outside, which is great. I mean, if you can fight a hero without the Warden being targeted by another defense, that's really good. And here also notice I snipe out an air defense on the left side, so that way my super minions are not going to be targeted by it. So they can just do their thing on the left side. And as soon as this Pressure Mortar goes down, as I said, 4 invises, direct the Fireball to the Inferno Tower, Fireball it out, also damage the Minion Prince, which is good. And now we have a poison spell because we did not need to poison down the CC, so poison down the Minion Prince. Even if he's on low HP, like you saw, he was on like 20% HP, still poison him down. He's going to cook your Warden if you're not careful. And yeah, well worth the investment. Start the hero dive. I have 6 rocket balloons, so I know that I can redirect the Warden, which is exactly what I do. Redirect the Warden to the left, and make sure that he stays away from the heroes. Now, there was a Tesla that popped up that kind of scared me because, well, there was an odd chance of him tracking back, but my queen cleared up that scattershot at the top side, and now he should have a clear path to go to the left. Pop the king ability here shortly to open up that compartment to the town hall. And yeah, at this point, with, well, yeah, had to be extremely careful with that warden charge because I missed the freeze on the RC. I don't know if you were paying attention to that or not. But yeah, that was a very close call. If that warden went down, this would have for sure been a fail. So yeah, always make sure that you keep the warden up and always keep a close eye on him. And yeah, with this, at this point, yeah, send the RC on the back end and you got the triple. But yeah, that fireball definitely pays off. And from what I've done, the attacks, this approach works pretty consistently. So as soon as I saw this base, I knew I was in for a treat because this base does not really give all that much fireball value. And foolishly, I thought that the scatter shot was going to get the CC, or the fireball onto the scatter shot was going to get the CC, but it does not. And yeah, you'll see what happens. I mean, I went for the fireball onto the scatter shot. Looking back at it, I'm not even sure now where I would fireball, because if you fireball that minion prince section, it gets decent value, but it doesn't really get pathing. So yeah, it's a pretty tough one. Maybe fireballing the Inferno Tower is the best bet here because you get both Infernos and the CC, so maybe that's what I would go for. But here, also trying to snipe out that X-Bow, because that's going to get me that whole left side section with the multi-arch tower at 10 o'clock, and that's really good value. But yeah, going for this fireball onto the scatter shot, it's painful to watch because I know it does not reach, and for some, as I said, for some reason I thought it does, and yeah, I'm about to get 0 value with that fireball, and that's gonna be tough. Um, and well, I guess the plan would be again, like going into the Crusher Mortar with the hero dive is not the best idea. So maybe what would have been nice would be to potentially fireball the Inferno and maybe have the Warden go right, although it's also pretty tough because the Warden would have to face a lot of damage later on, so yeah, kind of a tough base. That Flame Flinger, though, is going to carry pretty hard because it's going to get really good value. And we're going to start the hero dive. We missed the CC. I was kind of like, okay, well, I'm screwed at this point anyways. Might as well just start the hero dive. That way we maximize as much percentage as we can. Because, yeah, with the CC still there, it's going to be very tough to recover just based on time. Power-wise, we might be okay, but time is always going to be an issue. And yeah, popping the king ability early, getting rid of that Crusher Mortar. Here, for some reason, I did not pop the queen ability. I should have popped the queen ability there because she was fighting the minion prince and she was taking a lot of damage. And I thought she could hold on to the ability for a bit longer, but I should not have been greedy. I should have just popped her right away, so that way I didn't lose all the queen health. And yeah, at this point, I mean, things are fading out. I'm sending in the RC to help out the Warden. Maybe I should have placed her on the other side to help out the Queen instead. But I was a little bit preoccupied and a little bit worried about the Warden not getting the Town Hall here. Plus, there's still quite a bit of time left, but yeah, with that right-hand side section still there and 15 seconds, it's gonna come down to time, and yeah, it's gonna be close, but unfortunately we will time fail this one. Right, so here we have a poison base, double poison base, and it's a tweaked version of the double poison base that I actually showed in my previous video. And The difference here is you cannot set up a really nice Flame Flinger by that Minion Prince. The original base has the Minion Prince kind of behind all those buildings, so you could have set up a Flame Flinger there, but this version does not offer Flame Flinger value. I went with the original plan, and here I tried to look for some Flame Flinger value, and I thought maybe I could snipe out that X-Bow that is by the Ricochet Cannon at 6 o'clock. But as soon as I saw those Teslas, I canceled the plan because I thought, okay, well, I would just have to use all my rocket balloons to set that up, and it's, in my opinion, not really worth the investment. Another thing that happened in this attack was that my Warden stepped down. And looking back at this attack, I mean, I did the Fireball, pretty good value. Looking at this attack, I should have redirected my Warden to the top side here, to the bomb tower. That's what I should have done, and I did not do that. And at this point, I thought, oh, it's probably too late because, yeah, he's going to step into the CC range if he gets redirected, or, yeah, something bad is going to happen to the Warden if I redirect him from that angle. And, yeah, I just let him walk towards the Minion Prince. And here, yeah, you'll see why it's a bad idea, because you generally do not want to be hero diving into the Crusher Mortar, and that's exactly what I'm setting myself up for. I have no choice but to go for this Crusher Mortar because, well, there's a good funnel formed already by the Warden with that Fireball, right? And here I'm just hoping that the Crusher Mortar just does not destroy my hero dive in seconds. That's why I'm sending in a bunch of rocket balloons as well, is to try to get rid of it as soon as possible. And I'm also freezing it down, popping the King ability. Maybe that King ability was a little bit rushed. I'm not sure, although the Monolith was already locked onto him, so maybe not. And yeah, keeping an eye out on the Warden. Queen gets stuck on Ice Golems. Never a good sight because she's just going to get shredded by this Town Hall. I invis her just to try to delay her ability and keep her health a little bit topped off. But yeah, that back end section with the Poison Tower and the Spitter and the RC is just as brutal for the hero dive. You don't really want to be hero diving like that. And yeah, my hero dive just dies off in seconds. And at this point, you know, if you're at this point of the attack where the hero dive just dies off, just go for percentage. Don't bother, you know, trying to heroically save the triple because most likely it's not going to happen. Just go for percentage. Here I'm just trying to, you know, get as many percentages or percentage points as I can because every percent matters, especially if you're in high legends. And again, yeah, just trying to snipe off outside buildings. But yeah, looking back at it, if I redirected the Warden to the bomb tower, probably would have had an easier time dealing with the Crusher Mortar. And maybe could have hero dived into this Minion Prince. And I think that would have had the highest likelihood of tripling.